Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jocelyn. Hi. I don't remember how I used to do my intro. We gonna start all over again. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jocelyn, if you guys don't know. If you guys are new here, hi, hello, welcome. I haven't uploaded here in a very long time. So, happy 2023. Hello. We're gonna try to start uploading on this channel again because I have been reading a lot. I just haven't uploaded, okay? Last year, 2020, I was reading so much, but I never uploaded. I uploaded like book reviews here and there to a certain point, and then I just stopped. But I did continue reading. I'm going to be talking about the books that I read in 2020, and I'm going to give them a rating as well. We're actually going to start it off in order, and not in by ratings, but by the first books that I read, okay? That's what we're going to do. So some of these, I actually do have book reviews up on my channel, so you guys can check them out. I will have links down below so you guys could see them. If not, you guys probably already saw them. The first book that I read last year was You Deserve Each Other by Sarah Hogel or Hogel. I could be wrong. But I gave this book a 4 out of 5 stars. It was probably one of my favorite books, like romance books, that I read last year. It is a, what would you call this? It is a enemies to lovers / second chance trope, even though it's about a married couple. But I really enjoyed this book. I read it in like January, so it was kind of technically the first book that I read of the month. It's absolutely one of my favorites. It has to do with a couple who are struggling in their marriage and in their life. They're kind of like bumping heads. They're really not into each other. They're, you know, like they're struggling. I think they're fiancés. I don't think they're married. I think they're like barely fiancés. I think they propose to each other, but you know, like they play games here and there, so they end up, you know, trying to make each other like each other, or like seeing what they want in life. Eventually the person who gives up and who breaks up with the other person has to pay for all the expenses of the wedding that they were already paying for. This girl is struggling because she really doesn't have like money, but like she doesn't have a well-off job, and her like fiance does, and so she's kind of like trying to find herself because she felt like everything's the same routine, that he's very simple, he does the same thing. So I really enjoyed it as a married person. It's one of those books that like I think helps and gives you a perspective of like things that you may be able to do to spice things up, and like you realize that sometimes as a married couple, you guys still have to work for the relationship. You guys still have to like I said, spice things up, and like I guess try to impress each other like how you guys first started dating. But besides that, I highly recommend it. I think it was one of the good romance books that I read this year. The second book is The Family Upstairs by Lisa Jewell. I always say her last name wrong. It's either Jewell or Jewell. I don't freaking know. She's one of my favorite authors, you guys. Like, she's one of my favorite thriller authors. So hands down, I was gonna love this one. There's actually more thriller books that I read last year. So this one, I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars as well. It was creepy and confusing at times. Like, you really had to pay attention to like not miss things. My favorite part was the point of views and the flashbacks. Like, there's so many like flashbacks going back and forth to the present time and the past, and like everything connects, so you really need to pay attention. I highly recommend this one if you are getting into thrillers. Maybe not this book specifically if it's the first book you're reading as a thriller, because I feel like it's not long. It's only 340 pages, but it's also not the type that like you just need to like thrillers first, I guess, to start reading this one, because it's a lot to take in. And if you aren't really familiar with thrillers, like it's a lot of mystery and a lot of like sometimes they're horror, sometimes they're psychological thrillers. So it's more like I recommend other thriller books first before getting to this one, you get me? But it was good. Highly recommend. A lot of the books that I read the past year were a little spicy. You know, I had the moments where I just wanted some spice, you know? I had this book for a very long time. I think I even did a book haul back like 6 years ago when I first started my channel. Like, this is one of the books that I think I got from thrift books when I first started buying books from there. It's Beautiful Bastard by Christina Lauren. This is actually the first book that I read by them. I have The Honeymooners, but like I've never read that book, and I like it's still sitting there collecting dust. If you really want spice and like, you know what I mean by spice, like, then this one will be for you. However, it's a lot of like sexual scenes, like every single chapter, like every scene is just that. So if you want more romance with spice, this one's not gonna be for you, because this one's literally just all spice. Like everything's just spice. Like there's no moments where they're just like pausing. There's moments where they're pausing, but like not for very long. You got me? So I gave this one also 4 out of 5 stars. I think at the moment the reason why I gave it that was because I was needing spice. Like I wanted to read spicy books. But now that I look back at it, I think I would have given it like a 3. Also, keep in mind, some of these books I read them because of book clubs, because I started joining book clubs on Fable, which y'all could join my book club if you want. I'm not very active, just so you know now, but it keeps me on track to reading, and I think that's why I started reading a lot this past year, because of the book clubs. I kind of like forced me to like read, because I felt like I had to communicate with other people about it, even though I didn't like write anything in threads or anything, but you know, it's the thought that counts. The next book I read is On Dublin Street by Samantha Young. I had never heard about this book. It's pretty old, and by old I mean it's like from 2012. Like it came out in 2012, and I have never heard about this book. Like I love getting to know books that came out like a long time ago, and that are still like, you know, that you will like now. And I think I like it. I enjoyed it because I think if I would have read this book when I was younger, I wouldn't have liked it, just because my mindset was completely different than what it is now. So I think I enjoyed it better now. I had given this book a 5 out of 5 stars, and I am being a little biased because the main character's name is Jocelyn, and well, my name is Jocelyn, so being a little biased. I thought it was really, really good because it has to do with like loving yourself, having acceptance, trying to move on, like realizing that sometimes things are out there that you cannot control. And I think this book kind of helped a little with that knowledge of like realizing that sometimes there's just things that you can't do anything about. But it's very good. I recommend going in with like not knowing what it's about. I know some people did not like it, but I think at the moment when I read it, it was something that I enjoyed. I like it. Next one is also one of my favorite romance books. I don't know, is it a fiction or a romance fiction? What is this? I don't freaking know. Y'all tell me. But I do have a book review on it, and I gave this book a 5 out of 5 stars. One of my favorites. One that I will always probably recommend to people. And I did read it because of the book club, but also because of TikTok recommendations. You know, that was very popular. So, and it still is, so that's why I read it. But it's The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is the first book that I've ever read by this author, so I love the writing style, everything about it. Like the way this person writes is like chef's kiss. Like I enjoy it so much. Like I said, I gave this book a 5 out of 5 stars, and I'm not the type of person that likes to read. I'm not gonna say this is a historical book because it's not, but like I do not like reading books that have to do with like decades ago, you know, like a certain decade, just because it's not my cup of tea. Especially if it's a fictional like historian book, like that ain't for me. I think if it was more like Bridgerton style stuff like that, I enjoy, but like other things, like not for me. This one I highly recommend. I think if you were ever going to read a Taylor Jenkins Reid book, it's this one. To definitely get into their book, this one is the way to go. It captures your attention from the very beginning. The plot twist at the end, like oh my god. And if I say what it is about, like I'm gonna spoil it, so I can't really say it, but it does have representation of a certain sex certain lifestyle. I don't freaking know how to describe it, but I like that it has that representation, and I like how it makes it very well known that in the past, like that was something that's a big no-no. Is it accurate? I have no idea. I cannot tell you if it's 100% accurate. It's something that y'all would have to tell me because I have no idea. But I really enjoyed it. Goes from past to present and like 2 point of views, and like it's really good. Really good. Next book is a book that I think it was the last book review that I had made for my channel. So it's Today, Tonight, Tomorrow by Rachel Lynn Solomon. I'd given this book a 5 out of 5 stars, but if I'm being honest, I do not remember what it's about. And I think I'm gonna start rating books differently, because if I can't remember what this book is about, is it really a 5 out of 5 stars? Like, it's a 5 out of 5 stars at that moment, but is it a 5 out of 5 stars right now? I don't know. It's a cute story. It's a very quick read. I think it took a while to read this book, to be honest, but I think because at that point I was already getting like burnt out because it was a book for another book club, and I was just going book after book after book, and I was kind of reading like 3 books a month, and that's like so much for me. I hadn't read for the past like 2 years or something, so that was a lot for me. They compare it to The Hating Game or Infinite Playlist. Never read those books. I have The Hating Game, never read it, so I don't really know, but I can tell you that it's a very cute, quirky coming of age book, I guess you could say. Definitely a romance. It's an enemies to lovers trope, and it takes place senior year of high school. I think it's like their last week of high school. It's 2 overachievers in academics who are like super smart, and they try to compete to become valedictorian. One of them beats the other, and the other one tries to get revenge, as in trying to win them in this game that they do for every senior, where they have to go around town. I think it takes place in like Seattle. They have to go around there like trying to get clues and like a scavenger hunt, and they end up, you know, like falling for each other. I'm just saying, wink wink, a spoiler. But you know, it's a cute, quirky book. I really liked it. I think it was something that reminded me of the books that I would read when I was younger, so I think it was something that I enjoyed at that moment. Would I read it again? I think in a few years, if I completely forget about it, yeah, probably. But right now, I wouldn't read it again. The next book is actually the first book that I read by this author also. Most of these, I think, are the first books that I've read by these authors. But it's Fix Her Up by Tessa Bailey, and it's the first book to the Hot and Hammered series. Let me just say, it was a 4 out of 5 stars. This book was a 4 out of 5 stars. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't my favorite. It was... I think it's, what is it, brother's best friend, lovers, enemies to lovers, brother's best friend, something like that. It's alright. I feel like it was predictable in the way where it's your typical romance of like, they're gonna end up together, it's obvious. You know, the guy is like mysterious or whatever, and he still likes the girl. I did enjoy the part where the girl does stand up for herself because she wants to be something that you do not like picture someone wants to be as like a career, to be honest. And her family struggles with that, and I think they like try to boss her around a lot because she is the youngest, so they kind of choose a lot of things for her, and I think she's trying to finally stand up for herself, and he helps a lot with that. So I think it's cute. It's cute, it's a fast read, it's a good book to read to, you know, like cleanse your palate, if you will, but still not my favorite. The next book that I read, I do not remember anything about. It's so confusing. It felt so long, and I think it's not that long. It's 350 something pages. I guess that is long, but I do not remember reading this book, and I know I did not DNF'd it because I read it completely, but it took me forever to read this book. Hostage by Claire McIntosh. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars, so I'm assuming it was okay. It's one of those thriller books, and I think I read it. I remember I couldn't get into it at the beginning because it's a slow burn book. I do remember it has to do with like, she's a flight attendant and they are held hostage in the air, and so she's trying to discover like what it has to do with and like why they're being held hostage and how it's connected to her. And then she has her child on Earth, like back home, and then her, I don't know if it's her mom and like her ex and stuff, and like she's trying to figure out like how they're connected. I don't know, but I think it was a really good book. It's just really long and like super like in depth that you really need to go in like not knowing anything about it, to be honest. The next one that I read, now that I remember, I don't know why I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. I think I would have given it a 3 out of 5 stars, to be honest. It wasn't my favorite also. It was a romance book. But it is The Worst Best Man by Mia Sosa. I didn't like it. Now that I think about it, I don't think I liked it. It's one of those books. It's a short, it's kind of big. It has to do with the wedding planner, and that's all I remember. Besides that, it wasn't my favorite. Like, I don't remember much about it. It wasn't my favorite. I read it because of also the book club, but I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. I think because it was easy to read and it was very quick to read, and it was, you know, your typical romance books, which was fine because after reading, I think, that thriller book, I was a little like, I need something like nice, easy to read, something breezy, like something like quick, and it was that one. The next book, I gave a 5 out of 5 stars. It was my top favorite. A lot of people love this book, and it's also the first book that I've read by this author, but I I loved it. I loved it. It's Every Summer After by Carly Fortune, or Fortune, whatever you want to say. But I loved it. It was such a fast read. It's a great book. It has to do with, it's a second chance romance. It has, I think it has different point of views, like the past and the present. I don't remember, but I loved it, and it was a lot of miscommunication. I feel like I don't even know how to describe it. Like, it's something you need to go in not knowing much about, because, or at least knowing some of it. I just can't remember right now, girl. Okay, it was one of my top favorites of this past year that I read. Like, I highly recommend it. The next one was the second book that I read by Lisa Jewell. Like I said, she's my favorite author, and I think this one was my favorite thriller from hers. Like, it was my favorite. It's like psychological thriller. It was chef's kiss, you guys. I highly recommend this book. Like, y'all think When She Was Gone was good, this one this one's on a whole other level. It's The Night She Disappeared. Oh my god, this book is crazy. Like, crazy. It's so good though. Like, it's so good. It's about a girl named I say Tallulah. Her name could probably be Tayuya. I don't freaking know. But she's 19 years old. She's going on a date. She has a baby, and her mother is like babysitting her kid because she is separated from the partner. My dog's going crazy. And the girl doesn't come back. Like, she doesn't come back from her date, and her mom is going crazy trying to look for her and like figuring this out, because her daughter isn't like this, and it's the first time she's going on a date after like separating from her partner. And so it's just a lot of back and forth, and like, I don't know, it's so good. It's so good though. Like, it's good. And the next one is another spicy book. Are we surprised? No. It's Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas. It's the first book that I've ever read by Penelope Douglas. I liked it. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. It was a little uncomfortable reading about high school kids being spicy. I think that's the only problem I had. It was a little weird, but it was really good. The spiciness that I wanted, I kind of got from it, because that's the kind that I enjoy. I don't want it to be fully spicy, and this one wasn't fully spicy, but it had spiciness. You get me? And this book reminds me a lot about the books that I used to read on Wattpad. Like, those are the kind of spiciness that I like. I did expect more of it though. It's super overhyped from TikTok, and like, I just wanted more. Like, you expected more from it, given how hyped up it is. But besides that, it was still good to read. The next one is Praise by Sarah Kate. It's the Delicious Players Club, the first book from the series. Like I said, I just wanted a lot of spiciness. I think after this one, it's just like pure spiciness. I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars. I don't know what you would call this, like a revenge love. I don't know. But the main character is going out with her ex-boyfriend's dad, and a lot of shit happens. Like, he owns this crazy, lavish sex club, and the shit that you read from this book is a little like, does this actually exist? Like, do people really like this type of stuff? I'm very curious now. But it was actually entertaining. It was very informative about certain kinks and likes from different people. Is it accurate? I don't know. But it was interesting to read. I don't recommend it if you ain't into that kind of spicy, kinky stuff. The next one that I read was another book that was so overhyped by TikTok. The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars. It's so hyped, and I don't understand why. It's not my favorite. It's a good book to read. It's very easy to read. It's interesting to read. I think that's the only thing that I like about it, that it was such a fast read. My question is, does he have autism? Like, he's described like he has some type of autism. I don't remember if he even says it, but it's a fake dating trope, and I like those because they always end up together. But it was actually good. It was good. I liked it. Has to do with STEM, women in the industry, STEM industry career. But it wasn't my favorite. You know, it was cute, but it wasn't my favorite. The next one that I read, I think I gave this one a 3 out of 5 stars. It was not my favorite. It's Marriage for One by Ella Mays. Where did I find this book? I have no friggin' idea. I have no clue. It's a very slow burn book. I hate it. It was so slow. Not my favorite. I enjoy more fast-paced books. So I am into fast love, like instant love. Those are my type of things. This one was more like a lot of anticipation. Like you already knew what was gonna happen, but they were taking forever to say it, and like it wasn't my cup of tea. The next one was another overhyped book on TikTok. However, this one's actually good. It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey. This is the Bellinger Sisters series or trilogy, I think. But this is the second book that I read by Tessa Bailey, and I actually love this one. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. I loved it because it is an enemies to lovers book? I don't even know. But I liked it because he changes her a lot, and like this character has a lot of character development and a lot of change, and like it took me a while to read it, to be honest, but it was totally worth it. I enjoyed everything about it. It was good. Next is Brutal Prince by Sophie Clark. Brutal Prince by Sophie Clark. It's the first book to the Brutal Bright, right? I can't say it. I gave this one a 5 out of 5 stars. I don't remember anything about it, if I'm being honest. I know it's a spicy book. I do not remember anything, like at all. The next book is another book that I gave a 5 out of 5 stars. It's another spicy one. Do I remember anything? No. It's A Wrong Bride by Katharina Mara. It's the first book in the Windsor series or trilogy. I don't know what it is, but I think I like this one because it's like her sister was supposed to marry this man, but then the sister doesn't show up, so then she has to marry him, and it was that type of story. Spiciness, yes, it was good. It was good. The last two are books that I DNF'd. Sorry, but I did. Okay, How to Fake It in Hollywood by Eva Wilder. It's 368 pages, and I was like 70% in, but I stopped. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. Why? I don't know why. I think because it was good at the beginning, but then it kept getting boring and boring, and I think they just prolonged it too much, even though you already knew what was gonna happen. And it was just no. I was enjoying it, but then I just DNF'd it. And the last one is Your Dad Will Do by Katie Robert. It is the first book of A Touch of Taboo. I gave this one not even a 1 star. If I could give it 0, I would. It's a DNF. It's spicy, but it's not the type of spicy that I like, because this one is a lot like The Beautiful Bastard one, where it's just spiciness every little moment. If that's a type of book that you like, go for it. I think you will enjoy it because it is a lot of kinky stuff. It also has to do with like revenge type of thing. Like she's dating her ex-boyfriend's like dad, or not even dating, they're just like doing it for revenge, and like he always liked her and all this stuff. But those are all the books that I read for this past year. Let me know if you guys read any of these books. Tell me how y'all liked it, what you guys rated any of these. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.